another moment when we run the risk of Nigerians looking at us as a group of elected representatives who sit in the red chamber to shed crocodile tears. But we know that is not what we do. But we are victims of certain circumstances that make it look like that's who we are. Mr. President, there's probably nothing any one of us will say here today that had not been touched on before. The only thing that is new is that more people have been killed in a most barbaric manner. Yet we have to say something as elected representative of the people. Mr. President, we are unhappy about what happened in Borno. We are unhappy about what has happened in Katsina, what happened in Niger, what happened in different parts of the northern part of the country. But even in the southwest, in the southeast, in the south-south, things are happening. People are being kidnapped. There's some form of insurgency. You know, in those states, just last week, a paramount ruler was killed. Now, Mr. President, my own contribution is this. Let us stand on existing resolutions. In addition, of course, to the prayers that the mover of this motion just made clear to us on the floor this afternoon. For me, the number one resolution that I would like to re-emphasize on the floor of this Senate today is that it is time for Mr. President to allow our service chiefs to go. They have done their best. They have worked so hard. The best anybody can give is his best. You cannot give what you do not have. And if the president believes so much in these service chiefs, let him remove them as service chiefs and constitute them into a presidential advisory committee on security matters. And they will still be there to be advising him. But let some, younger ones take over as service chiefs and move the country forward in this respect. Fighting Boko Haram cannot be something that will be doing by habit. It cannot become part of our national life. It cannot become part of what we budget for year in, year out as a routine. This war is becoming a routine, and there's a need to bring it to an end. Lives are being lost on a daily basis. Senator Ndume brought back to our attention a constitutional provision that we're all familiar with, Section 14, subsection 1B, which defines the primary purpose of government as being the welfare and security of the people. And we all agree that, this is not being fulfilled. And where a government is deemed to be in breach of Section 14(1)B of the Constitution, that government is also, automatically deemed to be in breach, either consciously or unconsciously, in breach of Sections 32, 33, and 34 of our Constitution, which provides for the right to life, right to personal liberty, and right against torture. These are things that go together when you fail to fulfill the provision of Section 14(1)B. So, what are we talking about? Let these service chiefs go. And if Mr. President will not remove them, we call on these service chiefs in overriding public interest to resign honorably and look forward to being appointed as members of the Presidential Advisory Committee on Security to work with Mr. President. So this is one contribution that I really want to emphasize. My second contribution on a final note, Mr. President, is that the budget that we have before us, the amount of over 800 billion naira set out for defense, comprising all of the armed forces, more than 60% of it is specifically tailored towards prosecuting this war. I believe, Mr. President, before this budget is passed, it's either Mr. President himself comes to address this parliament on the way forward with respect to this security matter, or we hold a joint session of the National Assembly and do a public hearing and allow Nigerians an opportunity to also speak to this issue. I don't think it should just be a question of us sitting here to pass this budget. It should not be business unusual. That's what I would like to say, Mr. President. I thank you for the opportunity.
Senator George Thompson.
And I think the time of truth has come. It's no longer acceptable to every Nigerian of the situation that we find ourselves, especially in the Northeast. We cannot be mourning our citizens in and out every day. And we cannot accept again the explanation coming from the military every time there is an attack like this. Furthermore, as a digression, let me say, if the statement that are credited to the spokesperson of Mr. President, Mr. Garba Shehu, is true, then let me say that it's highly irresponsible and insensitive. He might be exposed to information that we and other Nigerians did not have. But at that point in time when everybody was mourning the loss of these citizens who are innocently killed and who have gone into their farms, despite the challenging economic situation in this country, to go and farm, thereby losing their life, and somebody is saying it's because they did not take clearance. We don't harvest crops in one day. We harvest them over time. So planting rice to its harvest is not a one-day affair. How did it happen, or what happened that all the time these people were busy farming their land, the military has not asked them to stop? So, Mr. President, I totally agree with the submission of my colleague, Governor Kasim Shetima, and I believe that it has now facing us eyeball to eyeball, that we have to sit down with this military and reassess their performance in this in the Northeast. I totally agree that the issues of security are tricky. There are some that you don't see. There are some that you will not be told because of their sensitivity. But we are past that time now, because say day in, day out, same scenarios keep repeating themselves. Then something is fundamentally wrong here. Mr. President, if we allow this to go like this, let's be ready for another morning. So, despite the effort of federal government on the security issues of Nigeria, and I totally believe the president is doing his own best, but then doing your best is not enough when we cannot see the results on ground, and this is what is happening. It's no longer about money. This Senate and the National Assembly as a general has increased budget over budget, year over years, to the security apparatus of this country so that we can secure it. Yet, the more we give money, the more attacks we have. So, Mr. President, I think the resolutions or the suggestions that were proffered, especially that of the civilian JTF, I'm strongly for it, because when the civilian JTF were introduced, we had the security level drop drastically, and there was improvement in security, and people were going about their normal duties. Let me equally say here, or assuage the fears of other people that are saying that Borno would take an undue advantage in the employment. I don't believe so. Every Nigeria, in fact, it's only in Nigeria that we do employment or recruitment based on state origin basis. It's based on what you want as a citizen. You want to be an Air Force or you want to be an economist, it doesn't matter. So if we are going to achieve the goal, I strongly agree with you, with your statement, your opening statement during the listen. That is not what is it's not, we should target the consequence of this introduction to civilian JTF into the equation. And I believe introducing them will drastically improve this, the security situation there. Lastly, Mr. President, I want to call on the investigation of the funding of this military. It's high time. I don't want to believe, and I don't even go where I don't think we should accept increasing money, at least for now, till we are sure and till we are clear of the earlier investment that I want to once more condole the